welcome you all, basketball degenerates, to another episode of the Pass First, Shoot Later podcast brought to you by the OC Basketball League. I'm your host, Zico Pepic, here with my co-hosts, Michael Van Wyck and Omar Almadine. And today I've got a very special guest with us, one of the best shooters from our basketball league, from the OC Basketball League, one of the best shooters I've actually played with or against in my life, honestly. Kyle Kintzle. Kyle, what's up, buddy? How you doing?
Doing good, man. Doing good. I'm glad to be here with you guys. I've watched a couple of your guys' podcasts, so I was pretty excited to get on here.
I do have to throw this out. I have to throw
He
this
meant
out.
to say, wait, he meant to say he's watched all of our podcasts.
Yeah,
That's
he
what he
meant-
meant
yeah.
to say. Yeah.
I'm a busy guy, man. I'm running around managing like 60 kids in this, program. And then I got my own family at home. So,
Talk about that, Kyle. Talk about that. Talk about the program you're working on.
so when I moved to Palmdale, I started working for a program called AVAC United. If you guys have been in the map or at Ames Sports Center, you've probably seen our logo at the map. It's definitely all over the place. We work with numerous programs throughout all of Antelope Valley. Most of our tournaments are down in Orange County, like Hawk Hoops. That's inside of the MAPS facility. Is one of our programs that's partnered with us. We're just trying to reach the kids, man. Trying to get to the youth. Trying to give them something that some kids don't have the opportunity to do, especially out here. It was a definite eye opener for me moving from Orange County to Palmdale, kind of seeing the difference in the basketball and how the kids kind of take it more serious and what it means to them out here. So it's been cool. But other than that, man, just living, taking care of the family. So
That's good, man. I want to throw one more thing out here. Kyle, you and I had a really good conversation when I first started the OC Basketball League. Our league is a league that gives back. We've donated to multiple causes, one in particular that you're fond of, and we've given back to autism research across America, an autistic school. Please talk about that a little bit.
So basically, for people that don't really know a lot about autism, the children that do have autism, they do tend to have, different needs than kids that are, going to school regularly and stuff like that. My son is actually on the spectrum, and he's actually going to start going to preschool this year because he's about to turn 4. So we have a regional center out here. It's kind of the same thing. They do an intake, they diagnose your child, and they give them kind of the best plan of action to teach them so that they can eventually get to a point where they can be integrated in the regular school and live a normal life, because they're honestly, man, they're just super overstimulated. They learn differently, and as long as you teach them techniques and ways to go about that, it's really it's a beautiful thing, dude. It's different. It is definitely a beautiful thing to watch. Seeing my son, he's so different, and the way that he views the world is just amazing. So it is really cool that you guys do that and give back to them.
Thank you, man. I met your son. He's a great kid, and I'm super happy you guys found that program. I know for a lot of parents, it's actually hard finding some of these programs and getting their kids into those programs. So I'm really happy you found one that's going to work for you and your family, and I'm wishing him all the best through it.
Appreciate it.
I do have to mention one thing, and this is interesting because into this room walk in 2 Laker fans, a Spurs fan, and now a Celtics fan. Kyle is a Celtics fan, Omar.
Omar can't hear. Omar's just baffled.
He's so baffled he had to mute himself.
He's frozen.
Omar is third world country problems right now. It's video problems, sound problems. So he's going to be in and out. And, that's why we brought in a 3.5, I guess, member at this point. So, yeah, we'll ignore Omar. So, yeah, there's a Laker fan, a Spurs fan, and a Celtic fan in this conversation right now. And I think that's a pretty interesting one. There's one thing we all have in common at this point. I think that's just winning organizations. So
I think we all think that the Celtics probably have the best shot since their last championship to win one this season.
Yeah.
They still look really good.
I mean, you know what, man? I have a kid in my program today. I was talking about it because he's a Lakers fan, and I said something. He goes, "Yeah, as long as you guys don't choke in the playoffs, coach." I was like, you know what? That's not, and it is because they are looking. I mean, dude, they've blown out some of the best teams in the league this season by like 30 points. They are playing really, really well, and I'm just like, hey, as a Celtic fan, I'm just sitting here going, just don't mess it up. Just don't mess it up.
Okay, so that's what I have to ask, Kyle. That there's that shadow of the doubt in the back of your mind. What's weighing heavily on you regarding that? What is the issue that you're worried about will be the downfall if there is a downfall?
Oh, as far as the Celtics, oh well, shoot, man. Beginning of the season, my biggest one. I actually went on numerous rants about this. I love the dude to death. Think he's a phenomenal basketball player. But Kristaps Porzingis, um, dude hasn't played a full season like his entire career. I've looked like through his entire stat line. I looked through all his like numbers, and the only season that he's played over, I think it was, he's got 5 seasons where he's played 60 games or less. He's got like 4 seasons where he's played 50 games or less. He's actually, his whole career hasn't played a full season, not even his rookie year. So I'm like, dude, I'm like, look, if he stays healthy, and Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum show up in the playoffs, we have a really good chance. Plus, when we got Drew Holiday, dude, that was like a game changer for us because it was like taking Marcus Smart and just finally throwing all that offense in him. Because Drew Holiday, dude, that guy plays defense, he plays offense, he's just an all around. That was a steal for us, man. That was a big steal for the Celtics in the offseason, in my opinion.
Absolutely. I completely agree with you on that. It was a big steal. I've been on that same boat as you. Like Porzingis is the one where it's like I just don't trust him. I no offense to him, it's like he just finds a way to get hurt every year, and I feel like if it goes deep into the playoffs, it's like you're just waiting for it at that point. You hope he stays healthy. You never wish anything bad on anyone, but yeah, I can't help but worry about that for the Celtics. I feel like that's the issue. And no offense to Horford, like if Horford is the starting center, I don't see a chance for them to
Yeah,
win.
no, it's the defensive aspect, man. Porzingis plays great defense. His offense is there. Horford's on the backside of his career. He's getting up there. So it's definitely he's like a catalyst in my opinion. Like I think even if everybody stays healthy, if anything happens to Porzingis, I think that it's gonna.
So not really a good news, bad news, but he's played in 2 playoff series in his career. The first one went 6 games. The second one went 7 games. He lost them both, but in the first series, he got injured.
Oh, shocked.
He played the first 3 games, and then that was it.
Shocked.
All right, so Kyle, I got to ask you one more thing before you move on from the Celtics. I don't like talking about the Celtics too long, but since you're a fan, I'm going to honor that. What team, number one from the East and then one from the West, are your biggest worry in terms of beating the Celtics? Even if you're fully loaded, which team you're like, I hope we don't play them.
Honestly, first of all, I'm an awful basketball enthusiast because divisions. I'm terrible with divisions. Hold on, I'm over here pulling up the division, so I know. I've always been like, I don't know basketball divisions, man. Let's see. I'm worried about the Lakers. If I can throw that out there and start some.
You say not worried?
No,
Yeah, I don't think they'll get through.
no,
I'm not worried about the Lakers.
not
I'm
really.
not a Lakers fan.
Realistically, I mean, I think there's only 2 teams that can beat them out of the
I
West.
mean, if we're talking in the East, Milwaukee's real shaky. Yeah, Milwaukee's real shaky. I mean, the Heat are really good. The Heat are a solid team. But other than that, dude, I'm like, It was the Bucks before, but the Bucks are real. Like they are, dude. They're real rocky. Probably, I mean, maybe just the Heat. The Heat got a good squad. They got some young guys. They got a good team. I mean, and you were talking to me earlier, dude, about the Suns and everybody. Probably the Nuggets, dude, from the West. Maybe the Mavericks. The Mavericks are nice, dude. The Mavericks are like sleeper. I feel like in the West. I feel like they're right there, but they're not. Kyrie and Luca are kind of figuring it out finally. Their team is, but then again, I feel like it's only ever Kyrie and Luca, Kyrie and Luca, Kyrie and Luca. I don't really know.
Yeah. I think with Dallas, it's too easy to adjust. Like you can game plan a series for them. It's
Yeah.
the two guys, you lock them up, they're done. The game slows down, all of that. I think the West is more heavy hitters.
Yeah.
Realistically,
I
I
don't
think
know about
it's
that, Mike.
Denver or the Clippers.
I think the Mavs are the dark horse in the West right now. The way they're playing right now is actually really good playoff style basketball. They play really well in the half court. They can spread the floor. They have really good size now. They have great length on the perimeter. So I actually think they could be a team that sneaks in just because Luka could win a series by himself. Like
Okay,
he's shown
one
that against
series.
Clippers, he's shown that against the Clippers in the past where he had every elite defender on him that's still on that team now, doing everything they could stop him. They couldn't. I feel like the only team that really they can't beat in the West is Denver. I don't think they could beat Denver in a 7-game series, but if Denver gets knocked out by another team, there's a good chance that they could make it.
Yeah, I mean, there's a reason you said dark horse. It's a long shot. I think
Well,
they're a good team. They're playing well. Some of their key players are younger guys, obviously. You got Kyrie and Luca, but you just clamp down on those two. Go through your set.
Kyle, I will tell you this. I made a prediction earlier in the season. If the Heat get matched up against the Celtics in the playoffs, I'm putting all my money on the Heat.
Don't put all of it.
Dude.
You can put some of it.
The Heat.
I think it's
solid,
gonna,
dude.
The Heat, yeah, they are. They're playoff solid. That's the thing about the Heat.
And they got my favorite rookie. They got my favorite rookie, dude. Jaime Yaquez. That dude is that kid. Dude, it was crazy because I coached for Open Gym years ago when I was down living in Orange County, and I worked the Ball is Life Junior All-American camps. And I don't know if it was like memories or whatever, but I was going through it and scrolling through it and like, dang, dude, I care. This was one of the coolest camps, and it popped up the MVPs of the camp. The MVP of the camp was Jaime Yaquez Jr. No facial hair, baby face, short, crew cut hair. And I was like, bro, that's wild. Like I didn't, and then he went, 4 years at UCLA. The kid, he's a stud, dude. He was NBA ready the second he stepped foot on the floor. And the Heat, they lucked out getting that dude because they were already solid.
I think that was the perfect fit for him too. That's just the way he plays, the energy he plays with. He's such a good fit next to Bam. Like they really needed that fit next to Bam, and he's perfect next to him. So,
and Jimmy's like taking him under his wing, dude. He's been playing. The two of them have been just going.
Yeah. Okay, well, Omar is still struggling. So he keeps trying to come in and out. He might have given up. He hasn't come in or out into the. Yeah, I think he's done. Yeah, third world problems with internet suck. I've been there. So Omar, no worries if you can't get it on. We'll go forward with the show without you if you can't get on. But yeah, today's episode we are actually in honor of the shooting greatness of Kyle Kintzle. We will be talking about the all-time shooters in NBA history. We didn't make a list. We're gonna kind of try and punch out a top 10 together, which I think might be a little more interactive and fun. There might be some arguing, but I think that's okay. I think there's some spots that none of us will argue. But this is actually a harder list than most people understand. you could specify and say top 10 3-point shooters of all time, and we could just look at who's made the most. I think it's kind of boring.
Well, those aren't the best guys though.
Exactly.
The volume isn't always.
Yeah. So I've kind of broken down a list of guys in categories of what their capabilities are, and we're gonna go through them. I think just to get this out of the way, Steph's the greatest shooter of all time.
Yeah, I don't think we're going to debate number one.
Yeah, nobody's debating number one. I think that's settled. It's like Jordan at number one. Nobody's debating that. Well, I mean, some people tried it,
A
but
lot of people debate
A lot of
Jordan
people
at one or
debate
one.
that for
Yeah,
Tried.
this is different. I don't think there's anybody who will debate Steph Curry. I mean, the guy's got 700 more made 3-pointers than the next closest guy who's retired. Curry's still playing. He's shooting just under 43% for his career, which the closest person would be Kyle Korver at 42.9. So he's above him as far as percentage. But then as far as makes, you got to go all the way down. I mean, you're not finding a guy shooting a higher percentage until, yeah, it's not even on top 50.
yeah.
So there's one person in the top 50 makes that shoots a higher percentage than Steph Curry by 0.3%. So it's not a debate. The way he gets his shot off, where he shoots from, how he shoots, it's
And
ridiculous.
he actually fills in both categories. There's some guys that kind of work in both categories, but I've kind of separated this into shot makers, guys who have been able to hit ridiculously tough shots, better than other people, and just catch and shoot. Kyle, you're a catch and shoot guy. You're the kind of guy that, like me being a point guard, I know if I'm driving the paint, I am always looking to see where my shooter is, whether he's fluttering out to the corner or curling off of a screen or whatever it might be. And I think that those types of shooters are the most dangerous ones, just because they help a team spread the floor, and it really helps a team in terms of how their offense is running. But at the same time, those shot makers are something special that you can't really forget about. I mean, we just saw one the other night with Kyrie hitting a game winner that just, with his offhand, I don't know if you guys saw that or not. It was just incredible.
That was the most ridiculous thing I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Does Kyrie really have an offhand?
No. That's that. No.
He doesn't. So that makes it even more impressive. So yeah, I think that's what we're kind of looking at. So yeah, catch and shoot players, Ray Allen, Klay Thompson, Kyle Korver, Peja Stojakovic, JJ Redick, and then Jason Terry, Steve Nash, and Jason Kidd also somewhat fall in that category, although they do handle the ball a little bit more than those other guys do. And then all shot makers, I have LeBron, Durant, Harden, Kyrie, Kobe, Vince, Jamal Crawford, Larry Bird, Dame, Dirk, Paul Pierce, and even someone who's no longer here, but Petrovic, who was an insane shot maker for the time.
So, as much credit as I have given LeBron, I think to bring his name up in a 3-point shooting list is crazy. I don't care how many makes he has. You guys shooting 34% on his skits. No.
Yeah, I kind of agree. And then again, I'm going to mention him. He's one of the best players of all time, and his numbers are somewhat there in terms of makes. So we're going to mention. I mean, Harden's
he's eighth. He's eighth all time on made 3-pointers, but it's not. He's not a shooter. Let's not. We're talking about shooters.
Agree. I mean, Harden is also kind of in that boat to me, honestly. Like Harden chucks so much. He's made.
Yeah, I don't put Harden in my greatest top 10 shooters of all time. I don't care if he's number 3rd on the all-time made list. He's not. I don't think, oh, James Harden's a shooter. No.
Let's do it like this then. So like I said, we're going to start from the top. We have Steph as number 1, and I think we're all in agreement with that. I think where we'll start is number 2. Who do you guys have from this list where you're like, hands down, who's our number 2?
I don't know if it goes hands down anymore. after number one. I think there's a lot of room for arguing.
Okay.
If I had to pick, like, I need somebody to go get a 3-point shot, I think it's realistically Ray Allen.
That's a great answer,
Yeah.
Michael.
I think that Ray Allen, as far as if you watch a player shoot the ball, there's no better form shooter, in my opinion, than Ray Allen. And he even evolved his career. I mean, when he first came into the league, he could shoot, but he was still going to the basket. He was dunking on people. A lot of people forget that. A lot of people who are watching basketball now only see the end of Ray Allen's career, where he was a catch and shoot guy. But in my opinion, second best shooter of all time. I know he's second on the list. I know we weren't just going to read through the list, and I don't think we will after this, but Ray Allen is, in my opinion, the second best shooter.
Kyle, what do you think about that? Because I'm actually in agreement with Michael.
No, I 100%, dude. I almost said I feel like the 1 and 2 spots up until obviously Steph. When was it? He just was within the last like couple years, yeah, that he actually surpassed Ray. But I agree with Michael, dude. Like, when you look at some of the clutch shots that Ray Allen's hit, I mean, everybody obviously knows that shot when he was with the Heat. Like, the speed, the just overall, and like Michael was saying, I'm right there with you, dude, when it comes to quality over quantity. And I'll probably make some people mad, like Carmelo. Love the dude, thought he was a great player, but he was one of those guys too, man. Like, he chucked that ball at that basket so many times. Like, dude, but it definitely, I'd say Ray, dude, that guy, shooter.
Yeah. Mike, the way you said it's like the most beautiful form you've ever seen. I've never seen a player with better form than him. Clay's is really nice too. Clay's really fun to watch shoot the ball. One random guy was Macklemore. Like, his form was really close to Ray Allen's. He just couldn't stick in the league.
He's talking about Ben McLemore.
Yeah, I don't know if you remember his form. It was the closest they ever seen to Ray Allen's. It was literally almost identical. Form-wise, it was beautiful to watch. He just wasn't as an efficient shooter as anyone else. He couldn't stick on the court because of other reasons. But yeah,
80% of basketball fans have no idea who Ben McLemore is.
they might want to look that up because
No, they don't. He's not in the league.
I know he's not in the league anymore. I'm just saying, I'm talking about neither is Ray Allen.
But yeah.
There's gonna be some kids that have no clue who Ray Allen is.
Well, no, they will, because Ray Allen's always going to be a part of basketball history.
I agree. I'm just saying, Mike. I'm just saying. We're just
I
talking
got you.
form. But yeah, he has the best form we've ever seen in basketball. And I'm kind of surprised more guys don't sit and watch the way he shoots and try and learn from that. I know everybody's enamored with Steph right now, and everybody's chucking from 40 feet away, coming down half court. Second they pass, they're launching it. Yeah, Ray Allen was definitely a fun one to watch for us growing up.
Who you got at number 3?
You asking me?
Yeah, because I think we're going to deviate here some.
Yeah, this is where it's going to start getting fun.
So we're just doing 3-point shooters, or are we just talking
3-point shooters? Yeah, we're
Okay.
not doing DeMar DeRozan. We're not doing
Yeah.
mid-range guys. It's just 3-point shooters, which will take away from guys like Jerry West. Won't be on this list because there was no 3-point line. But realistically, if there was, he might be on here. So he gets excluded. But yeah, just 3-point guys.
Yeah, I want to say Clay. Personally, that's where I'd go. I think when you look at what Ray Allen did, I think Clay is very similar in game and style. And personally, I don't see very many guys on this list that are better 3-point shooters than him. There are definitely better shot makers than him because Clay is catch and shoot. And I feel like Ray Allen, especially in the beginning of his career, was able to do a little more offensively than Clay was ever in his career. but 3-point wise, I'd pick Clay.
Yeah, see, we're gonna go off, and mine's gonna be more debatable because it's not your typical guy. But to me, it's Larry Bird. I know in his era they didn't shoot as much, they didn't do as much, but that dude would tell people what he's doing and go do it. He could shoot and he would just light it up. I mean, he's the first player to ever shoot 50, 40, 90 in a season. He won the first three-point contests. He's got that famous, who's finishing runner-up. He was, for all intents and purposes, I mean, if he played today, in today's three-point shooting era, the amount of shots they get up from three, I think it would be even closer as far as where he was all time. But yeah, to me, it's Larry Bird at number 3. Or yeah, 3.
See, I'm gonna bite back a little here, Mike, and Larry Bird is on my list, just not this high. And the reason why he's not as high is because to me, Larry Bird falls more into that shot maker. Larry Bird did shoot threes and it was an efficient 3-point shooter. However, he didn't rely on it. He focused on scoring in other ways. So we were going to look at that epic 3-point contest he had, like you mentioned, and we're going to look at that and we're going to base a lot of it off that. Well, you just denied DeMar DeRozan from being on this list because he killed in the mid-range. Well, Larry Bird killed in the mid-range.
I didn't deny DeMar DeRozan from being on this list. I'm just saying DeMar DeRozan isn't a top 10 3-point shooter to me. And we're not talking about, if we're talking about overall can shoot from anywhere, then this list changes because you've got your Michael Jordans, you've got your mid-range guys like your Akeems, your Ewings, and that's not, I don't think, what we're doing here. So that's why I said DeMar DeRozan wouldn't be on here, because he's more of a prolific mid-range. He's known for that. That's what he does. He can shoot a 3 occasionally, but he's not going after it. Larry Bird would shoot him, and if you left him, you didn't leave him anywhere. DeMar DeRozan, he's going to try to get into the middle. If Larry Bird's left open, he's hitting the 3.
Larry Bird is not on the top 50 all time and made 3-pointers.
No, I know that.
You're aware of that though. So like
Yes.
that's, and like if we're gonna separate this into 3-point shooters.
Yeah, that's why I said this is where we deviate and it gets controversial.
Okay.
This Larry Bird is an all-time top 10 3-point shooter to me.
Kyle, I know you're a Celtics fan and you're probably torn right now.
Okay, see, I was thinking Larry, but I don't know if I'd put him as 3. And then it's super tough because, especially like Michael said, the era of no 3-point line, and then the era where, to the way that I tell kids, I go, now the game is so different because it's an outside-in game. It's not an inside-out game anymore where you got the big man and you're feeding them, and then you start going to the outside to your shooters. It's more, having a guy like Ray Allen or Kyle Korver, a guy like that just a strictly run around catch shoot guy, spreads the floor out so much more now, and it creates a different kind of game because everybody wants to shoot instead of playing that inside game. So I don't know, man. It is tough because I look at Larry as more of a shot creator, shot maker, all around scorer. Just that's just like you said, he was going to tell you what he was going to do, and he was going to do it. Like he didn't back down from nothing. But
Yeah, my issue with like that is like Kobe and Jordan told you what they're gonna do and they did it. So like to me, it's like it's similar to them, and like I love that. I don't know if that's
because then you're talking like, obviously Steph has relied on his 3-point shot, but he is the same thing. He's a shot creator, the guy who gets to the basket, he scores and paint. It's not not like he's always just been a 3-point shooter. So that's why it is. Man, number 3, I'm super torn because I'm over here thinking of catch and shoot guys. I'm over here like, dude, throw Kyle Korver in there, throw one of those guys in there, because then you got to think too, like some of these guys are bench guys. These are guys that they came off the bench their whole careers. They weren't getting the minutes and shooting the threes that play your effort shooting. Korver came off the bench his entire career. Dude shot 43% from the 3-point line, shot about 45% from everywhere else, but that's just because it was his job. He ran around and he shot the ball.
And he's sixth all time in made 3-pointers. So
Yeah, and that's being a bench guy.
yeah.
But
You gotta pick you gotta go with hard stance on a number 3.
Do you guys want to each do our own list? I mean, we're all at the same right now. Steph, Ray, and
Well,
Steph and Ray in 1 and 2, and now we're on number 3.
I think we're kind of doing our own list, except
Okay.
Kyle doesn't want to pick yet.
I'm see, and then man, this is tough. You guys, you asked a shooter to pick a shooter's list. I'm running through all these guys that my whole life I've been just watching film.
You're allowed to pick Kyle Korver. You're allowed to. I mean, he's going to be on the list somewhere. He's got to be, right?
I gotta go with Korver. That dude was cold blooded, catch and shoot everywhere on the floor, 3-point specialist. Like dude, I was him in college. I'm out of my game after him. I watched so much Kyle Korver tape that I started realizing that dude knew he was going to shoot it before he caught the ball. Coaches will tell you, catch and face and all that. I'm like, dude, when you're a shooter, there ain't no catching and facing. There is. I know this ball is leaving my hands when I catch it, and that's it. And he was one of those guys, dude. He just boomed it on. Yeah, I got to go with Korver. I knew I was going to put him up on my list.
All right. So all right, I'm going with Clay as my third. More because I feel like Korver, like you guys said, he came off the bench. He was strictly a catch and shoot player. I feel like Clay did a little more, which when you think about like Clay was like chasing on defense and stuff and burning energy, I feel like he got a little more tired. So like could have affected his shooting a little bit, especially certain games. So I put Clay at number 3, but I will say this, since we're going to jump into number 4 right after this, I do have Kyle Korver as number 4.
And I've got Kyle Korver at 5, so I'm going to surprise. I don't think it'll be a huge surprise with 4, but I got Kyle Korver at 5. Clay is not my 4th either. We can get to him later. Unfortunately for Clay right now, it's more of a prisoner of the moment. I know injuries kind of derailed everything he's done, and he's kind of fallen off, and he'll get it back, and he's had a career, and it's unfair to penalize him right now. But if I'm thinking of 4th best shooter, when I need somebody to hit a shot, I know he's going to hit it, and he can do it, and he can get it off on his own, or he can come off of a screen, or he can catch and shoot. It's Reggie Miller. Reggie Miller's my 4.
Yes, sir.
That's not a shocker to me, honestly.
I didn't think it'd be a. But yeah, Reggie Miller could get his own shot. He moved well without the ball. He had a quick release, maybe one of the quickest releases. He just
awkward as hell, but it went in.
Yes. I don't try to imitate his form. Don't try to shoot like him. But yeah, that ball went through the basket.
Kyle, what about you?
I had Reggie 4. I was that Reggie definitely. He's up there for sure.
So I guess we're sliding to 5. I had Korver at 5. So you guys already talked about Korver and everything he can do. I mean, that dude was lights out. Like I said, as far as your top 50 3-point shooters, he had the highest percentage out of those top 50 made. I think he might have the highest percentage all time. That I got to look up real quick. But he could shoot the ball. He got it off quick. He did everything he needed to do. You guys said he came off the bench. I know there were some games he started, obviously, but Kyle Korver was lights out, man. That guy was just insane to watch shoot.
Absolutely.
Trying to find this percentage real quick, though.
Kyle Korver's?
Yeah, I know his percentage is 42.9. I'm trying to see if there was a higher percentage that had, a fair amount of makes.
Honestly, I think Steve Nash, but he doesn't even have nearly as many makes. he has the same percentage in 3-pointers. But
Okay, you got Steve Kerr at 45%, so Steve Kerr's the highest as far as guys who qualify. But yeah, Kyle Korver's insane. Who you got at 5?
Am I up or Kyle's actually up? I don't have Kyle at number 5. I have Kyle has Steph 1, Ray Allen 2, Corver 3, Reggie Miller 4.
I'll put Clay in the middle. I probably put Clay right there.
Okay. So our top 5, aside from Mike's Bird, are all pretty similar.
Yeah.
I have Reggie at 5.
And I got Clay at 6, if we're just getting there. But yeah, Bird
Like
sneaks in
bottom
there
5
for me.
maybe.
Yeah, I mean, it's if you look at guys, and I think even I don't know how many kids are gonna look at this and think, oh, Trae Young's one of the best shooters or Luka's one of the best shooters, because they don't have that, they haven't seen that. But those guys aren't, I don't think, even touching these top 5. And even Clay, I don't think they're touching the top 6, but most of these kids are gonna think Clay, they're gonna see what he's doing now. You can't do it, but
Well, I think that I think Luka might have a chance to like crush a lot of these. You know that, right? He's already
absolutely, yeah. Luka's a stud, and Luka can absolutely get there. But
Yeah.
we're going off of career here, all time. He's not all time yet.
Yeah.
Yet.
Okay, so number 6. This is where it starts getting fun, Kyle. This is where it gets complicated.
Oh yeah, you guys are gonna like my number 6. I got he's got a low percentage. His percentage isn't that high. His field goal percentage is high because he's one of those guys. But I gotta go with Dame.
I don't think that's a bad pick at all.
Dame, that dude, man. I've watched some of his pre-draft workouts and his off-season workouts, and I mean, shoot, if you and plus 2, if you look at it, I think between him, I think it's like him, Clay, Paul George, those guys that are like, guys that are up there and possible mentions, they're less than 1,000 games played. Now Steph too, like Steph has surpassed Ray Allen, and Ray Allen played like 400 more basketball games than Steph ever did.
Ray Allen's at 1,300, Steph's at 943. So
yeah, so
you're
I'm
pretty
like,
close on that 400 number.
So I'm like, dude, that's wild because you got, because I think Dame's 800 games.
Dame
Plays
is
800
832.
games.
Yep.
So, yeah, man, the fact that Dame's already put himself 4th on the list, and he's 4th on the list in 3-pointers made, and the dude's played 832 basketball games. Like, but that's the thing though too. These guys in their age, Steph's just turned 36. I think Dame's. I have to look that up. I don't know how old Dame is. He's young.
No, he's actually a little older.
Is he? Oh, he is, huh?
Yeah, because he came into the league. I think he played 3 years of college ball.
He's 33. He's 33.
Yeah, he's 33.
That's not that old.
Yeah.
Anymore. It would have been old a long time ago, but now LeBron's.
And that's the beautiful thing about how I was talking about the outside in game, dude. Guys like Steph, and that's why I thought, dude, and to kind of sidetrack, but we're on the shooters. I thought Klay Thompson coming out and flat out saying the whole thing about guys like Ray Allen and bringing up those guys who on that backside second part of their career took that that kind of side seat of becoming more of like a catch and shoot guy and still being super efficient. I think that he's going to be able to turn around from that injury and really, I think make something of the rest of his career. Because most players, they don't look at it like that, dude. They still want to be the guy. They think, oh, dude, they got that whole ego. And for him to just flat out be like, look, I'm not worried about it. I know that I can do it. Like, I think that was awesome, dude. freaking yeah, man. But yeah, no, Dame's definitely number 6. That guy's wild. That dude made some crazy shots.
So yeah, Dame is 6 actually for me as well. For all the same reason. He is a shot maker slash shooter. He does it with pretty good efficiency. And yeah, he's hitting them in terms of volume. So you have to respect it. It's to me, it's completely different than Harden, who's really not that much further down percentage wise. I just feel like Dame is a more complete shooter than him. I think Harden is just volume scorer. So yeah, for me, I have Dame at number 6 as well.
And I got Clay at 6. We've already talked about Clay enough, I think. But like Kyle said, a lot of these shooters, as they get older, they can adjust because they can still play at that speed. And as long as they're not a complete detriment on defense, they can come off a screen, they can get open, they can sit in the short corner, they can come off the screens and still shoot these shots, especially someone like Clay, who, like we said earlier, probably has the second best shooting form ever. So it's very repeatable. He's very consistent. This is his first full season back from, 2 terrible injuries, and he's already doing that. He's played 780 games. He's number 7 on the list on all-time threes made. He's shooting 41, almost 41.5% from 3 on his career. I mean, yeah, Clay's going to keep moving up, and he'll get higher than 6 probably when it's all said and done
So
on my list.
I think we're in a interesting situation now. We are finished with 6. We have 7, 8, 9, 10 left. And for the most part, we've been really clinging to those catch and shoot type of players.
You guys have been.
Well, you threw Bird in there. That's
Well, and Miller's not really. I mean, Miller wasn't a catch and shoot guy always.
he
created
wasn't, but for the majority, he was.
for the majority.
With the way offenses was played right there, you ran him through multiple screens.
And like we said, I mean, Ray Allen wasn't his whole career. He could
No,
always shoot, but he wasn't always a catch and shoot.
right.
But if we're going into it, and you guys already mentioned Dame, Dame's not really a catch and shoot guy.
No.
Dame's not on my list yet, but for you
I
guys,
just mean like Dame can do a little of both. He's Dame in a catch and shoot situation is deadly, more deadly than some of the other shot.
I mean,
shooters.
if you're talking about guys who can shoot, they can shoot off the dribble, they can catch and shoot.
No, not always, Mike. Some guys aren't the same as that. Some guys struggle with that. A lot of guys, like Harden is not like that. Harden needs the ball in his hands to create his own shot to get the shot. He's not as good in catch and shoot situations.
There
Actually,
are exceptions. I agree.
Yeah,
That's true.
Clay,
There are
Clay,
exceptions.
the Clay game, he had
3 dribbles.
60, 3 or 4 dribbles.
Yeah.
When everybody was talking about him and the whole, is Clay this? And I was like, dude, 60 points, 4 dribbles.
Yeah.
Dude scored 37 points in a quarter. I don't know what else to say.
Yeah.
Like and if you watch it, he scored the 37 off of catch and shoot, 1 dribble pull-ups. Like, he is a simple basketball player. A lot of these shooters had that though. Like, even Korver was one of those guys. He didn't always necessarily shoot threes. He was smart. He'd, give a shot fake here and there, a little sidestep, 1 dribble pull up. But Clay's different, dude. That dude.
Yeah.
All right, Mike. Number 7 for you.
Number 7, Kevin Durant. I think at his length, his
That's
ability
8, no?
no, that's 7. I had Clay at 6.
Yeah, we're at 7 right now.
Yeah, it's Kevin Durant. He can get his shot off over everybody.
Yeah.
Almost anytime he wants. When he shoots, you expect it to go in. You're more shocked when he misses. I mean, I know it was called a 2, but I always go back to when they played Milwaukee, right? And he had that inbound turnaround where his foot was on the line, but you knew he was getting the ball. You knew he was shooting. You knew it wasn't going to get blocked. You knew it was going to go in, right? And from my perspective, and I know a lot of people disagree with me on this, Kevin Durant has always been in the backseat of whatever team he's played for, and he's been comfortable with that. but he's never, in my opinion, stepped up to be that leader, to be that guy. He just takes the shots that are given to him, more or less. Like Steph Curry was the guy, Westbrook was the guy, Harden, Kyrie, and even now Devin Booker's the guy. I never think that Kevin Durant was. Yeah, he's the best player on those teams. Maybe debatable with Steph, maybe, but he wasn't the leader of those teams. But he's, except for those other two, except for Golden State, he's been the best shooter on every team he's played on. And I don't think that anyone can take that away, especially outside of the top 10. Just at his size, his athleticism, his ability to get his shot off. He can catch and shoot. He can dribble and shoot. He can shoot from, you know, the logo if he needs to. So I got Kevin Durant there.
Kyle, what about you, bud?
Oh, I'm gonna go the complete opposite direction. Like the complete opposite direction. He's actually pretty low too on the list, dude. I'm gonna go with JJ.
JJ Redick. Okay. There's another.
He's number 20 on the list. Shot 41.5%, and he played under 1,000 games in his career.
Actually, that was something that I was going to mention about JJ Redick. Second you mentioned his name, he doesn't have the volume of games that Kyle Korver has. He went through a lot of injuries. Kyle Korver actually stayed much healthier than JJ Redick did. They had similar style games. They were the same role on every team they played on. JJ usually came off the bench. He did start with the Clippers for a while when he was with the Clippers.
Yep.
Yeah, I think had he stayed healthier, he'd be way up on this list.
Oh, 100%. I think if that's the sad thing about some of these dudes, man. You know, some of these guys, you look at their games played, and I'm like, dude, that guy. But like Eric Gordon, that dude can shoot the basketball. He's 15th on the list, but he's only played 873 games because he's just been injured his whole career. But
Well,
yeah, no, definitely gotta go with JJ. That dude can shoot, man.
okay. For my number 7 is Bird, so I do have Bird here. So I'm a little surprised that both Mike and I mentioned Bird before the Celtics fan.
He's holding out. He's
See,
looking at his shooters.
I don't look at him as a 3-point shooter. And see, I agree with Mike though. You know, who's coming in second? The famous finger in the air before the ball even in the basket, dude could definitely shoot the ball. And I agree with Mike. I think if he was playing in basketball now, dude would thrive with his 3-point shot.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think he would. I think a lot of guys would. I think just the way the game is played. But the thing about Bird is, not only would he thrive with a 3-point shot, I think he would just destroy teams from all over the court. We're seeing what Luka's doing right now. I don't think he'd have the ball handling that Luka has, but I think that he would just destroy teams inside out with the way he plays, with his slow hesitation moves that he can make and just get to wherever he wants to go. I think he'd be doing the exact same thing he was doing back then, just more efficiently with the wide open paint and no big guys sitting and ready to block his shot. So I do think that he's, definitely in top 10. And unfortunately his era affected the number of threes he took, and also health as well. He didn't play a lot of seasons either. So
Number 8.
Yep. What you got, Mike?
Damian Lillard. Just because, like you said, he's not a high percentage guy. He's right about 37%, but not all of his shots are, hugged up against that 3-point line. But clutch shots, ability to shoot from literally anywhere on the court. I mean, we all hated the All-Star game. It was trash, but watching him, barely step across half court or even step from behind half court, walk into a 3, and he can hit it consistently, you're usually going to be open. Obviously, it's not a good real game shot, but I for all the things you guys mentioned before, he can get a shot off. He's got the famous, wave and Paul George. Oh, that's a bad shot. And it's like, well, he made it. And that's not necessarily a fundamental shot that you're going to teach or you really want somebody shooting. because realistically, it is a bad shot. But given the situation and given who's pulling it, he's making it. So I've got Lillard there. Like you said, he's 4th all time on makes. You know, probably as his career, as he gets older, like we've mentioned numerous times, he'll become more of a catch and shoot guy. He'll probably get open looks coming off of somebody else. I thought he'd have a better season this year with more focus on Giannis, but he'll find a place he's comfortable. He'll start hitting catch and shoots. His percentage is going to come up most likely if we follow the trajectory of most shooters. So I got Dame Lillard there.
I think the game today is going to be in his favor. The fact that teams are chucking as much as they are, the fact that defenses have really, dropped the last year or two, especially. I think that guys like him and even someone like Steph is going to be playing, if they want to, into 40 and still being able to hit a few threes a game just to boost these numbers up and make them unreachable for a lot of the future generations. So I agree.
Yeah, well, who's your pick though? Because you already used Lillard.
For number 8?
Yes.
Okay, my pick is actually Dirk.
Okay.
Yeah, I love Dirk. And I think I had to put in one big man into this conversation, and definitely has to be him when you're mentioning any of the big men. I think Durant obviously kind of fits some of that mold since he is pretty tall, but the way Dirk got his shot off is to me, he has to be on this list. So, he's one of those shot makers. He's one of those guys that if you ask yourself, game on the line, life or death situations, he's one of those guys I feel like is going to be in the conversation that you want possibly taking that last shot as well. Bird as well. Some other guys will be on this list. So I think it has to be him. It's and I also have to throw in another European player. So
I like that pick, Zico. I agree. I agree with Dirk.
all right, so we're gonna have you with Dirk at number 8 as well.
Oh yeah.
I will say number 9 for me is Kevin Durant. We've been talking about him earlier with Mike, and I just mentioned him now. The height, the length, for someone to get the shot off at that high, at that trajectory, with that efficiency is actually really impressive to me. I think it's harder for tall guys to shoot. And for guys like that height to be that efficient and that deadly with their shot. And also they shoot like at the top of their head. Both of them do. They make sure they're shooting over because most of the time they have longer, taller foremen guarding them. And so they've learned to do that and shoot with a high arc. So to me, both those guys are really impressive. And I have Durant number 9.
So I've got back to a traditional catch and shoot guy, Steve Kerr at number 9. But like we mentioned, highest percentage of guys that have shot a decent amount of threes, right? He was clutch. He was trusted by the best player to ever play in tough situations. He could shoot. He was obviously a set shooter, this guy. Steve Kerr's not taking you off the dribble and hitting the step back. I don't even think they were doing that yet. But open shot, guarded. If he's set, if he catches, he's shooting, and he's making it. The highest percentage of all time, right? Steve Kerr was just it as far as catch and shoot guy. Even his form wasn't fantastic, but it was very repeatable. It was almost if you put a clip together of every 3-point shot Kerr made, they're all going to look pretty close to the same. It was very, very robotic, if you will. And it's just lights out shooter. So he's my number 9.
Kyle, who you got number 9?
I'd say Durant.
Okay.
I'd agree with Durant. He was I was hesitant, but as you were talking about his shot and how he keeps it so high, I was talking to my mom, and my mom said she got to go and watch the Suns and the Clippers, and she said, I've watched a lot of basketball. I've watched a lot of professional basketball. She comes to our games. You met my mom. And she says, I have never seen something more beautiful on a basketball court watching Kevin Durant move and shoot a basketball. She goes, he makes it look effortless. Like it's just everything is the same every single time. He's very, he's just dude is his work ethic is insane. Like he puts in the work. I've heard stories like watching podcasts from other like NBA guys talking about that the dude doesn't even get his hair done. Like the guy just likes to play basketball. Like he is just one of those old school in the gym constantly, doesn't care about, what he looks like, what he's doing. He just wants to play basketball. And that's why but I do agree with you too, Zico. Like it is unfortunate because he's always been kind of like that, I'm Robin, never really been that Batman. And everybody's just kind of like, dude, you were supposed to be like, you know, you were supposed to be like the Batman of the teams you've been on. And you always kind of, so but yeah, I got Durant.
I mean, I think he has been Batman. He just never won as Batman. And,
Yeah.
it's going to be held against him, but a lot of guys have been in that situation and they don't get held against them as much as he has. I think you look at Durant and you see this potential that is, it's like your mom described, it's beautiful, right? Like you see it, you see the beauty in it. Like it's like taking Kobe and Jordan and just like stretching them out, and you have this insane footwork and insane shot capability that no one in the world has ever really had. Like maybe Wemby might like reach something like that where we were talking about him in that light. But for someone to have all that and not be able to be a number one, it sucks. Like as a basketball fan, you wish he would do it. You wish he was capable of it because it'd be something that just would be legendary. But yeah, I think the Achilles really did hurt any opportunity he had of doing it.
Yeah.
He did obviously go play with Golden State, and I think that he won 2 titles, but in a sense, it was a mistake for him. In terms of his legacy. So it's tough with him. It really is tough. Like you want to root for him, but there's enough argument for you to downplay some of it. So Mike, number 10.
Number 10, I got Dirk. All the reasons you guys said. He's a clutch guy. He could hit threes when needed. I mean, he shot only, I say only, but he shot 38% on his career. He's 18th all time on makes, and he was a big. He played down low and still was able. I think he was the first real like stretch four where you had to run out at him. Like there were guys who were like Arvydas Sabonis could shoot a three if he was open. Manute Bol has the game with 7 threes or whatever it was, but those were few and far between. Those were outliers. Dirk, you had to run out at. You had to close out. You had to run him off the line. You couldn't just let him shoot. So I think he
also there, and so is Shrimp.
Who?
Tony Kukoc and Detlef Shrimp.
Okay, yeah. The
really
honorable mention. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. He was Tony Kukoc and Detlef Schrempf, for all intents and purposes, they were very good big men, but they probably played more of a 3 than a 4.
Yeah.
Because you had, Dennis Rodman, Bill Cartwright, or not Cartwright at the time, but Wennington, Luke Longley, and then you had Sean Kemp. So Detlef was playing the 3. So that's what I'm saying. Dirk was never a 3.
How
right?
crazy is it now just to like look back at some of those teams and you see like the starting lineup was always 7'3" and then 6'11" center and then a 6'10" small forward and then a 6'5" shooting guard and a 6'3" point guard. Like that was like how every single team like structured their starting lineup. It'd be always be like a 6'9", 6'10" guy who is now playing center in the NBA.
Yeah. So I mean, so maybe in today's game, Detlef Schrempf, sure, probably a stretch 4. But as far as being remembered for it, and it's Dirk,
Yeah.
and that's why I got him at 10.
Kyle, who's your 10th?
This is going to be a fun one. Now this is a pass first. You guys will probably be able to guess. The reason why I'm picking him is because his amount of shots taken, either regular field goals or 3-pointers, is so low that if he actually shot the ball more in his career and wasn't a passer, he would have been probably higher on the list. And it's Steve Nash.
Yeah,
It's a good choice.
that was
40
I got a couple honorable mentions.
42.8% on his career, but he only shot less than 4,000 threes. Some of these guys are in the 5,000s, and he shot 49% from his actual, field goal percentage. But we're talking the amount of shots that he actually took on his career is so low comparatively to all these other guys that played. Like Carmelo's got 40 more games played than Steve Nash, and he's got 10,000 more shots on his career.
Give you an idea, Kevin Love's taken more 3-pointers in his career than Steve Nash, and he's played 300 less games.
Exactly. But see, that's the one that I look at, because if you look at Steve Nash highlights, that dude shot the ball. He only ever shot it when he was wide open, and he just never missed. The dude was an absolute issue. The dude could play. He was a passer. He was always just going to be known as that ridiculous assist god of a point guard that he was, playing the way that he did, and nobody ever thinks, oh, Steve Nash was such a great shooter. But it's like, dude, the dude didn't miss.
Kobe actually said that Steve Nash was the greatest shooter that he's ever seen, and he had worked out with Steve Nash on multiple occasions, especially during All-Star games, and they did little workouts together. And when he saw him shoot, he said that was the best shooter he'd ever seen. So a lot of people, I think that. I think that he was just such an unselfish person that it took away from his offense. So I think that's a really good pick. Honestly, I was kind of stuck between Nash and Kerr for my number 10 spot for a lot of those same reasons. Kerr efficiency is just unreal. It's robotic. It was just it's how they trained shooters back in the day. Like you've forced them to take the exact same form every single time. It was repetitive, robotic, and he was the perfect example of that. And so he has to be talked about in that aspect. I think you kind of take some away from him just because he did play with Jordan, and Jordan got so much attention, that it was easy for him to get open playing with Jordan.
You didn't take away from Clay.
I do actually from Clay too. But you know what though? Like, and so like I've said this about Steph. Steph to me is not a point guard. I don't think he ever really has been. We categorize him as like Allen Iverson to me is not a point guard. Like those are players who we put them in those positions just because they're small.
Eric Snow was the point guard, right?
Eric Snow was the point guard at that time. And to be honest with you, it was Andre Iguodala and Draymond Green running point for most of the time with Golden State, with the way they ran their offense, and whoever got a rebound just got it and went. But if you look at when Steph was at his peak, Sean Livingston brought the ball up. Andre Iguodala brought the ball up. Draymond brought the ball up. Those guys got the rebound, and Steph was running across screens and getting the ball. So it's the same thing with Clay. And so you could take that away from both of them. I just think the Steph did the best job of bridging every aspect of shooter, catch and shooter, and just shot maker that you could possibly ask for. So, and then Steve Nash, you kind of take that away from him as well, just because he didn't shoot enough. You want him to shoot more, and maybe if he would have shot more, maybe he would have won another title, or won a title. It's possible that he could have done that. I think sometimes he was a little too unselfish at times.
No. That's because of the coach he played for. D'Antoni didn't care about
defense.
He didn't play at all. It was
It
running
also
gun.
had to do with it also had to do with the Spurs, doing in that one
If
series.
Steve Nash was on a different team or had a different coach, he could have won. But D'Antoni's systems are never going to win. It wasn't going to win in Houston.
He was on a different coach.
Not going to win.
If he was on a different team with a different coach, honestly, I think that he would have scored more and he would have had less assists.
Maybe, but yeah, D'Antoni is not going to
cater to him getting those assists.
D'Antoni's never going to win a championship the way he coaches. You have to play defense.
I agree. I agree with that. You have to play defense to win. I'm just saying that I think that had Nash chosen to, hold the ball, look to score more instead of just pushing and trying to get those assists, it would have benefited him more. So
Well, I had three guys that weren't on my list that I think were right on the bubble. Obviously, Nash, JJ Redick. We've talked about those guys, but I think a throwback that a lot of people don't think about, and again, it was probably more a victim of the era, but Chris Mullin was the original Warrior who could shoot the ball like nobody's business.
Yep.
I don't think he gets talked about a lot. I think he's kind of fallen to the wayside of basketball history just because of when he played, where he played. But Chris Mullin could shoot. That guy could go. So he's close, but because he's retired, he doesn't play. He's never gonna move up. He's only gonna move down. But I wanted to let these young kids know to go look up Chris Mullin if you don't know who he is.
Kyle, you got any guys you want to just throw in his honorable mention?
Oh, I mean, there's a few. Mine. I gotta throw him in there just for fun. J.R. Smith. That dude could shoot. He's a goofball. I think if he wasn't, no. See, I always look at it kind of too, like Steve Nash. Maybe if he had passed the ball less. Maybe if J.R. Smith had it a little bit more when he was hooping up here and not been such a just out there dude and just been more just a basketball player, I think his career would have been way different. And I think he would have, because dude, you look at guys like that, he's so talented and he's a freak of nature athlete. He's probably one of those guys that didn't really have to work at it that much, and he was just a hooper. And I think he did, as he got towards the end of his career, he was strictly his thing was, if I don't know the offense, I'm gonna shoot the ball. That was my favorite interview. But if the offense breaks, I'm gonna just shoot it. But no, he's almost like my fun honorary mention. But which one I think my favorite, because I've actually seen him in person. I've seen Miguel from Open Gym train him in person. Buddy Hield, that kid, keep an eye on him, dude. 618 games played, 22nd on the list. Dude can shoot. He is a cold-blooded assassin with the basketball. When that kid can shoot the rock.
Fun stat: 1992 Olympics, the Dream Team. Chris Mullin for the entire Olympics, 54% from three.
Dang.
Yeah, I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised at all. He was an elite catch and shooter, and when you consider him playing next to those guys who were drawing all that attention, when he was playing with the Warriors, I think he was like their second best player, so he didn't get the room that he was getting when he was playing with the Dream Team. But I think that was probably a dream to just literally get to go in there and play with MJ and with Magic and Bird and let them get all the attention, and Barkley and Malone down low. So, yeah, I think that's interesting for a guy who goes and just has people hounding him all the time, and all of a sudden he's wide open.
Right. Yeah.
So my two honorable mentions are, for me, I'm going to look at an aspect that we really didn't talk about. We mentioned it, but game on the line, the end of the world, you have someone needs to take a last second shot to save the world. I have to pick Kobe and Jordan. They're two of my all-time favorite players. I don't care if it's a three. I don't care where it's at. They're, aside from Steph, I don't think there's anyone else I'd put in those situations to hit a shot. So Mike's shaking his head. Mike is angry, but I will always mention Kobe just to piss Mike off. Kyle, respond.
Oh, I all the respect for Kobe, and I agree. When we're talking, game on the line, we're talking planet exploding. I need someone to make this 3-point shot for the win. And you know what's funny? I grew up in a Chicago Bulls house, so I always looked at MJ like, ooh, he's basketball Jesus. But like, man, he played in an era where he was, I feel like, ahead of his time, and all of these guys now and where basketball is at, they all the athletes caught up and everything kind of caught up. Because do I think Jordan would have been able to play now? Absolutely. But like, I don't know, man. I think that there's enough talent nowadays that he could have absolutely been stopped. But you give the ball to Kobe just about any time, any place, even now, like Kobe in his prime, you stick him in the league, dude. That dude's making that shot. He's not missing that shot. Mr. 2 a.m. workouts, Mr. Yo, man, I've already been in the gym 3 times today before you were in it once. Like that dude ain't missing.
That's burning Mike's soul right now just to have you say that. You have no
Hey,
Not
hey,
no, it's just I mean, I think we forget about like guys, every time we go through this, I got him up there. The guy is a great,
Why were you
great
shaking his
basketball
head
player.
when I just said that?
Because he's not. To give
I
him an
just said,
honorable mention for a
honorable mention
point
for a
for
specific shot, a specific shot. I didn't say he's the best 3-point shooter. I didn't put him on my all-time 3-point list. I said to make a specific shot from anywhere beyond the arc, game on the line to save the world. Literally, the 4 guys I'm picking to save the world are Steph, Bird, Magic, and Kobe. I mean, sorry, MJ and Kobe. I'm not picking anyone else to save the world.
dude.
You're
Kobe
arguing
gave
with
it to
that?
Derek Fisher and Robert Ory and all these other
And
guys to
MJ
shoot
gave it to
threes.
Kerr.
I
Like,
agree,
yeah,
and
come on.
there
John
you go.
Paxson, but you don't hear me sitting here saying Michael Jordan. If I need a 3-pointer, is the guy I'm going to go to.
I would go
Like just
feel like I'd go to Kobe ahead of Jordan in that situation, to be honest with you. I'd probably go Steph 1, Kobe 2, Bird 3, Jordan 4. But I just mentioned him as an honorable mention in a situation to get a
that's
game
great.
winner. Jordan's hit 3-pointers game winners before. You're acting like he never did.
Yeah, lots of people have.
Okay.
Adam Morrison probably hit a half-court shot at one point. I mean, get out of here.
Statistically, too,
Nonsense.
Jordan was not a very good 3-point shooter.
No. But again, in a situation where like that, and I need a 3 to win a game, I don't think I'm picking anyone above those 4. So that was my honorable mention. And Mike is sitting there doing this the whole time,
Shaking his head.
shaking his head like he's
It's
just
crazy. These two, like guys, Jordan, number 1 all time. We all picked it, right? He's not on this list.
No, I didn't say he was on this list. I said an honorable mention for a.
Yeah, that puts him in a mention of this list.
No. I said I'm going to make an honorable mention that's a little different. I'm going to talk about a specific shot, the last second, game on the line.
Yeah. And Kobe Bryant shot 0.2% higher over his career from 3.
Okay, but they were in an era where 3-point shooting wasn't as prevalent as it is today. Kobe Bryant spent most of the first part of his career attacking the basket.
No, you guys were saying Michael Jordan wasn't a good 3-point shooter, and I'm just saying it was 0.2% less than Kobe.
I didn't say that. I actually said that I would.
Okay, Kyle did then. One of you said it.
was
Just
me.
relax. Yeah, take it easy, dude.
So you guys.
You're all grouped in. You're guilty by association.
No, I'm not. You're guilty by association by shaking your head when the camera can't see what you're doing.
But you're telling everyone knows I'm shaking my head. I already told him Jordan and Kobe don't belong on a 3-point list, just like LeBron doesn't belong. But LeBron has a better 3-point percentage than both of them. So should he be on here too as an honorable mention? Like
He actually should be, honestly.
No,
An honorable mention. Like Harden should be on it if you want to mention that, because Harden has made like 3rd most all-time 3-pointers. We're just going to be a little biased towards Harden because the rest of his game. We're doing the same. You're doing the exact same thing right now.
Okay. Robert Ory belongs on here for honorable mention.
Robert Ory is another one of those guys. Game on the line. Like he's one of those guys you want shooting it. That doesn't mean he's a top 10 in this. I just meant an
Robert Ory never had a buzzer beater drawn up for him.
So what?
It just happened to be there.
So
you're not gonna put
how many
drawing up a play for
buzzer
him.
beaters did Kerr get off that weren't drawn up for him? It was Jordan literally looking for him in those situations because he had a double coming his way.
And I'm not saying I want Kerr in a clutch shot. I'm not drawing up a play for Kerr depending on who's on my team, right? What are we talking about?
I don't know. I think you're just angry that I mentioned Kobe.
I'm not angry at all. I'm still smiling.
No, you are angry. I know you are. I know you.
I'm sad that Kyle didn't have a single Celtic on his list.
Ray Allen was on my list.
Okay, we're gonna count. All right. Okay.
By the way,
that's
actually,
fine. I count Ray Allen.
I mean,
hey,
I was gonna throw Paul Pierce on there, but then when I really thought about it,
Yeah, that'd be silly. That'd be like
He,
honorably mentioning.
he wasn't a 3-point shooter. He was a mid-range guy. He was, you know, that's I think you know what? I think you need to do another one of these though too, and do just like all around efficient shooters because that would be a fun one. You got because then you can throw your DeMar DeRozans and guys like that. My favorite one, dude. What's his name? The guy that uh he wore the face mask his whole career.
Rip Hamilton.
Thank you, bro. That dude, mid range master. That dude. He lived his whole career shooting mid range jumpers. He made a mid range jumper look like guys that catch and shoot 3-pointer. That's how good of a mid range shooter he was. They drew up plays for him to shoot mid range instead of three.
Yeah, but back in the early days of basketball, everybody had a mid range, right? Patrick Ewing was shooting mid range. Akeem
And
was
now it's a
shooting
dead
mid-range.
art, dude. I swear I try to teach kids how to shoot pull up jumpers. They're like, you want me to take one dribble and then shoot? Yes, yes. I want you to just stop and shoot instead of just either driving or shooting a three because there's a middle area. There's this little gray area, like 15 feet in.
Analytics, though, that's not a good shot, right?
It is if you're efficient, you're good at it.
I completely agree.
You're just like, if you're good at it, yeah. I mean, like look at DeMar DeRozan, that dude, absolute. Look at Kobe. Like Kobe lived most of his career inside the 3-point line.
One of the things that kind of blows my mind with the analytics, the fact that they actually consider it a bad shot for you to pump fake a three or start to drive from the 3-point line, take one, possibly two dribbles in, your opponent is on their heels. So you pulling up in that moment is actually a good shot because you created space. So if you think about the reverse of that, everybody is pushing step back, and the step back that they're pushing is the step back, drop your foot, pick up the ball, take a step back, which technically is a travel. They're pushing it like
Not
do it.
anymore.
I know they're like telling you do it backwards. That's more efficient than come towards the basket, take one dribble and pull up and put the defense on the back of their heels. It's kind of mind blowing, like that the analytics pushes some of these things. Like from a basketball player's mind, you're like, it's kind
You
of
know, you know who has a very underrated mid-range game, who nobody really talks about, and he's an extremely efficient scorer, and he can score at all three levels. It's Kawhi Leonard.
Oh yeah, actually, yeah, absolutely does.
I watched Kawhi Leonard warm up before the Clipper-Laker game, and he did not miss a shot. Everything was the same. You talk about a robot with the same form over and over. It doesn't matter who's there, whose hand's not there, where he's shooting from. It is identical. And his 15-foot mid-range game is insane.
Yeah.
And he can shoot, and he
You know
can
where
go
he
to the
learned it
basket.
from?
Yeah, Tim Duncan.
Ask him that. He credits a lot of that work working with Kobe. He was working out with Kobe for years here at that Newport Coast gym that we play at all the time.
Sure he was. I mean, he's a local kid in San Diego. That makes sense. Listen, I'm not
Go back and
discounting
watch him.
what Kobe did.
I know, but go back and watch him in the Spurs days. And I think one of the reasons he wasn't happy there was just the way Pop was using him. They pushed him out to the corner, and understandably so. You got Tim Duncan on the team, Ginobili,
Ginobili, Tony Parker, yeah.
Like realistically, like as great as Kawhi is now, he wasn't back then. They were like kind of shoving him to the corner just to be that 3-and-D player. And he really didn't get the opportunity to show how capable he was, unless those guys were out of the game and it was towards the end of the game, blowout, whatever, and they just let the young guy go. We didn't get to see all that really until he went to Toronto, and then we realized like, oh, whoa, like he's elite. And actually the year that he got hurt against the Warriors as well, we saw some of that as well.
Yeah, they would have won that year if Zaza didn't decide to hurt him.
Yeah, I really think they could have, honestly. It's kind of, it's almost like difficult to say that considering how good that Warriors team was, but I think they really could have, honestly, if Kawhi didn't go.
It's not difficult for me to say they were blowing them out. They were killing them. They blitzed them in the first game, and it as soon as he got hurt, it all turned around. I mean, they were blowing them out.
That series was looking like it was a wrap.
Yeah.
All right. Anything else you guys want to add to this?
I want
Any other
everybody.
honorable mentions?
No, I want
Next thing
everybody
is-
to like and subscribe, and I want people to comment their top tens. At the very least, I think Omar should type in his top tens. I know he wanted to list his out and go through this because Omar is, in his mind, probably the greatest 3-point shooter of all time. So I'm sure he might even be on his top 10 list, but I thought your list, guys.
Mike, real quick, I'm actually kind of bummed that Omar wasn't here because I was gonna tell Zico I was gonna take the over under on how long it took Omar to bring up the 50-point story that he has me confirm for him almost every time he sees me when he's around somebody. I remember that time I had 50 when we went out there. Do you remember when we went? It was you, me, your brother, my brother, my dad, and Omar.
And yeah,
we went all the way out to dude, we were off of Sunflower in the middle of the IE, in the middle of nowhere. We were, yes dude. And that was a fun time. We walked in that gym and they were
torched that league.
Bro, they were looking at us like, what are all these white boys doing here? And we were winning games by 30.
Yeah, it was bad.
It was like, oh look, Anthony hit a 3. Oh look, I hit a 3. Oh look, my dad hit a 3. Oh look, my brother dunked on that guy.
Yeah.
But we had that game. Omar hit 13 3-pointers in one of our games. It was ridiculous.
That was when Omar was Chris Mullin. Nobody was running out at Omar. He was just shooting them.
Launching it.
Mike's brother Anthony has me confirm his, what was it, Mike? 70-point game, 72-point game all the time. Yeah, I think it was 72, right, Mike? Or 75?
I know he had one when we were younger before he met you.
He had one playing with me, and he wants me to confirm it all the time. And yes, he was cherry picking, and me and Mike would get a rebound and outlet to him every single time, and he was making as many layups and open threes as he possibly could. We lost that game, unfortunately, but he did get his numbers. We got to get Anthony on at some point too, just so he can go over that and confirm it.
Talk about shooters. There you go. There's another one right there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Thank you again, Kyle. This was great. You're more than welcome to join us again whenever you'd like. And
dude, I'd love to anytime.
Thank you for coming on, bud. And we're not gonna have anyone else to call. Omar's job is safe for tonight. We'll make him do push-ups since he missed the show entirely. So
there you go.
All right, guys. Thank you guys again. Have a great night.
Have a good one.
You too, fellas.